Ladies and gentlemen, Marvel is back. Deadpool and Wolverine has now been in theaters for over a week, and it is a phenomenal movie. I had a great time seeing it. A lot of people did. If you've not seen it, rush to the movie theater and see this movie so we can all talk about it and nerd out over it. And I'm going to actually break down some of it. So, spoilers ahead. Just so you know, we're going to break down some of the top questions and complaints that people have had about the movie. And I just want to answer some of them and bring some light to them. If my opinion matters, we'll see. If you agree with me, drop it in the comments below. Before I do that, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. We're a new nerd podcast, anything pop culture, Marvel, DC, anime, Game of Thrones, whatever we feel like nerding out over, we're going to nerd out over. And drop in the comments every week if you know which Marvel hat I'm wearing or DC hat or nerd hat. I'll try to switch it up and wear a different hat every week. So see if you can guess this one in the comments. But let's get into the top 5 questions and complaints of Deadpool and Wolverine, and let's see if we can bring some light to it. So, question 1: does Logan's death now mean nothing in continuity? It is said that Logan is from the same Earth, 10,005, that Deadpool is from. There are some holes here, as in that universe, in Days of Future Past, Logan's consciousness travels back to 1973, and from there, events get altered that change the future, meaning Origins Wolverine never would have killed that version of Wade Wilson because Team X was never formed, and now there would be two Wades, only one of them speaking, though. Also, if that is the case, then per the Avengers and Endgame, traveling to the past can't change the present. It only makes a branch timeline. So technically, now that Disney owns these characters and movies, we can assume that when Logan's consciousness travels back in time, all the events that were altered are now a branch timeline, and that will lead Logan to his demise in his movie, and keeping things less confusing. Obviously, you have to get there on your own because they do not explain that in this movie. Remember also people complaining about all the confusion because of so many different things going on. I'll break it down like this. Everything you know from Fox was what they had planned, and that's where the creative was going and what they wanted to do. Disney and the MCU have a whole different creative plan. All these confusing points won't matter much once Secret Wars comes out because the MCU will give itself a soft reboot and get a fresh start on some things while still keeping what we saw from Infinity Saga and Multiverse Saga canon, minus any Fox franchise stuff or Netflix Marvel stuff. We will get a fresh canvas and it will be much better. It will be to the point that when you see movies, they are all connected, but you do not have to literally see every movie or show for things to make sense to a degree. But yes, in this continuity, Logan still died a noble death, and that has not been undone in Deadpool and Wolverine. Even though Wade says we're going to undo everything, they don't. Logan still died his noble death, and all is right with the world. So, yes, Logan's death does mean something in continuity. Question 2 is, why did Loki not show up in Deadpool and Wolverine? I've been seeing things like, why does Loki not intervene when Cassandra Nova is trying to kill all the timelines? Going back to Loki season 2, he is now the god of time. He can time slip and he can control it. This is why he wove all the timelines up in his hands and now sits on the tree throne, keeping all the timelines balanced. In this timeline, Cassandra Nova wants to destroy the timelines, but Loki could obviously see what she would have been doing and could be stopped. Think like Endgame. Why didn't the TVA or Kang stop Thanos? Because it was destined in that timeline for his plans to be undone and he would be defeated. The only time you would see Loki is when the timelines are very much in danger, and that's going to be Secret Wars. So to answer the question why he didn't show up in Deadpool and Wolverine, he knew that it was going to get taken care of. There was no need for him to go and interfere. But you will definitely be seeing him in Secret Wars. I can promise you that. The next question is, how did Deadpool travel to the 616 Earth to meet Happy? He used Cable's time travel device. He got it in Deadpool 2, and he had Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio fix it so he could use it. He goes around killing the Wade Wilson from Wolverine Origins and Ryan Reynolds himself before he could sign to do the Green Lantern. Basically, he went to every point in time that he wanted to change for his own liking. In Deadpool and Wolverine, this also implies that the watch can now be used to time travel to multiverse. They didn't imply that in Deadpool 2, so that might have been a capability we just didn't know till this movie. So if he had the watch, then why did he need the tempad he steals from the TVA? Well, remember, in Deadpool 2, Cable implies he could not travel anymore. He only had two charges, one to get him there to kill Russell and one to get him home. So even though Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio fix it, it only has a finite amount of charges. So Deadpool may have used all of these charges before finally living the life with all the people he saved from all the different points in time. And at that point, he would need the temp pad to travel around. So it does make sense. How does Wolverine know about the Avengers? He states in Deadpool and Wolverine, F the Avengers. This implies he knows them well. He said that the Avengers turned their backs on the X Men just like the rest of the Earth. I take that as in this universe, this is where Avengers versus X Men happened. In that comic story arc, they battle because of different ideologies regarding the Phoenix Force. The Avengers believe it would be the end of life as we know it. The X Men believe the Phoenix Force would help rebirth the mutant species. The Phoenix Force is so powerful that, of course, the Avengers would stand against them to protect Earth. Even though X Men would also fight to protect Earth, they just saw this threat differently. This is one way Wolverine would know about the Avengers, as I believe that universe where he's from is where Avengers versus X-Men happened. The final question that I've seen to round out our top 5 questions and complaints of Deadpool and Wolverine: who is the anchor being on Earth 616? The movie does set up something that I really think they want to make canon and use in the next 2 Avengers movies. Anchor beings. It could be argued that Tom Holland's Spider-Man is the anchor being, and the same could be said for Doctor Strange. I do not believe it's Tony Stark, because that would mean that the sacred timeline is already dying, and it's not said that that's what's going on. And Iron Man has already died, so that would mean the sacred timeline is in trouble. I don't think Doctor Strange would have put them in that position because he already saw the 14 million possibilities, and I don't think sacred timeline dying is one of them. I think this will be a very big focal point moving forward into Secret Wars. I could see the Avengers Doomsday movie being a movie very similar to Infinity War, where Thanos is hunting the stones, and I could see Doctor Doom hunting anchor beings to kill the universe off instead. Obviously, they say it could take thousands of years, but Doctor Doom has science and magic, and maybe found a way to deteriorate the timelines faster. Imagine Doomsday ending with Doctor Doom showing his face to Peter Parker and trying to kill him. It will be gut wrenching to us, and that is, I'm all for. I'm all for the emotions in this movie that's going to be happening. That said, I do think it would be a great way to have Doomsday lead into Secret Wars. I would honestly start building up RDJ as Doom now. Until then, in post-credit scenes, finding anchor beings and timelines and killing them, so we can feel the impact of Doom leading into the Avenger movies. They built up Thanos for years before we saw him do his thing, and we only have a couple of years to make Doom feel more dangerous. You do that in the post-credit scenes, just slaying anchor beings. That's how I think they should do it. And if I'm wrong, drop it in the comments and let me know. And that is going to do it for our top 5 questions and complaints of Deadpool and Wolverine. Hopefully, I brought some light to some questions if you had some of these. If you have other questions, drop them in the comments below. I would love to make another video and answer those questions as well. Again, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. We're going to nerd out. We're going to have a great time reviewing movies and doing podcasts and all that good stuff. So if you want to get nerdy, you subscribe to this channel and we'll get nerdy. So, if you know what hat I'm wearing, drop it in the comments. Maybe we'll do some giveaways. But until then, be safe. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care.